Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasts.
Content warning ahead. This podcast contains very sensitive topics such as missing persons, unsolved cases, haunted houses, and paranormal activity. These type of topics can contain very upsetting, sensitive details and stories. Please listen responsibly. Welcome to Misty Mysteries, a podcast in the business of ghostly spooks and chilling crimes. I'm your host, Keely, and today's episode is a story of a California woman whose husband may be charged for her death, but her family is still looking for answers.
Hey, I'm Gina.
And I'm Amber.
And we are here to bring you the Weird True Crime Podcast, where we cover true crime cases that will leave you asking yourself, did that really happen?
We'll dive into well-known and not-so-known cases throughout history. Some are unsolved and some are just unbelievable.
We'll also talk about current news topics that range from kooky to questionable on episodes that we like to call Weird Headlines.
Be sure to subscribe and listen on your favorite podcast service.
Maya Millete was living in Chula Vista, California when she was last seen on January 7th, 2021. 9 months after her disappearance on October 19th, 2021, her husband, Larry Millete, was arrested for her murder. Even though this arrest was made, Maya has not been able to be put to rest as search for her remains continue. But this is not where her story begins. Maya was born on May 1st, 1881 in South Province of Ilocos Sur, Philippines. She is the fifth child born to her parents Pablito and Nomi Tabalente, and goes by the nickname May since she was named after the month she was born in. Maya spent her childhood in the Philippines, where she loved and excelled in school before her family immigrated to Honolulu, Hawaii, after years of waiting in 1995. In Hawaii, she attended Redford High School, where she participated in school clubs like dance and theater and a variety of academic activities. On top of her schooling and school activities, at 17 years old, she found time to hold down a job at the McDonald's by the Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. While working at this McDonald's, she was able to graduate high school with honors and meet a boyfriend named Larry Millete. After high school, the two got married at 19 years old on May 21st, 2000, while Maya attended the University of Hawaii, and Larry went off to Virginia for Navy training. Eventually, Maya and Larry would move to San Diego, California, where Maya continued her college education at the University of California, where she excelled even further in her education, graduating with honors and a major in international studies. After college, she started her career as a government employee, working as a civilian contract specialist at the naval base in San Diego. With a good job and stability, she finally felt like she and Larry could provide their children with a good life, and the two welcomed their first daughter and child in 2010. Only a year later, in 2011, they welcomed their second daughter to the world. Then in 2016, they welcomed their last child and only son to their family. Maya was a good and devoted mother to her children. She loved her children more than anyone else and would move mountains for them. She wanted to provide the best for them and loved to travel with her children. Maya is described as being very charitable and giving, which is something she tried to pass down to her children. She would never hesitate to help someone in need and taught her children to be the same way. When they would travel to the Philippines, they filled backpacks with lots of school supplies and goodies to help others in rural communities of the Philippines. This was something that she planned with the children every time they went to visit Maya's home country. Maya loved not only traveling with her kids, but camping. She was a very busy person, but she made time for hobbies like hiking, dirt biking, and music. She even found time to create a YouTube channel where she posted videos of herself singing covers of songs and her own original songs. Maya was loved by so many and just very actively in her family and friends' lives. This is why when she went missing in early January of 2021, it shook the community of Chula Vista, California, where she was living with her husband and children. January 7th, 2021 was the last confirmed sighting of Maya and the last her family heard from her. According to Larry, in an interview he gave Court TV, he and May at this point had been having marital issues for over a year and seemed to argue often. On the day she went missing, he said that the two of them got in an argument and that she had left the house. But he swore that she was home that next day on the 8th because he had heard her cooking. Larry told the reporters he didn't realize she was missing until her parents came around asking questions on Saturday the 9th. Although for Maya's family, they went only a few days without hearing from her before they started to question where she was. January 8th and 9th, they started to reach out to Larry, asking where she could be. Different members of the family got different answers to where she went, which led her sister to reach out to the Chula Vista police on January 9th to report her missing. They began to create missing person flyers, hoping she was just away and okay somewhere. But they truly began to worry on January 10th when Maya missed her own daughter's birthday. The next day, on January 11th, a former criminal defense investigator for the U.S. Navy, Billy Little, heard about Maya's disappearance and offered his help to her family. He started his help right away on January 11th when he went to the home of Maya to look for clues and talk to Larry, who he said seemed unconcerned about his wife and more concerned about airing out his home. It was only a few days later, on January 13th, when the first official search for Maya was underway at Mount St. Miguel Park. That day, Larry spoke out for the first time as well. On this day, Larry did a phone interview with the local news station to encourage May to reach out or to come home, and shared he was hopeful all the news coverage would help bring her home. At this point in the case, I'm pretty much going to be running through a timeline, and some of this will happen back to back. Some will be a little spaced out over time, but overall it seems the police acted very fast in the investigation into Maya's disappearance. With that being said, the first big step for the investigation into her disappearance happened on January 23rd when a search warrant was issued for Maya and Larry's home, with the goal of finding leads into her whereabouts. During this, investigators actually seized some of Larry's guns. A few weeks after the search of the home on February 5th, Maya's sister, who from my research seemed to really take the lead into finding Maya, held a press conference with the Chula Vista police, asking for any information that would help bring her home. February also brought lots of searching for Maya from a group called Help Find Maya. This group searched from Maroon Valley to Otay Lake to the Anza Desert area. This group conducts searches, prayer groups, and has put together a very helpful website with all resources, information on Maya, as well as a very well put together description on who Maya is. While this Help Find Maya group has led searches all over Southern California, police and attorney Billy Little continued their own investigations into Maya's disappearance. In March of 2021, Billy's investigation uncovered evidence that Larry had made multiple online purchases. One for a love spell to help his and Maya's marriage, and another, after this love spell didn't seem to work, around December of 2020, he requested that a Filipino witch would perform a spell work that could harm Maya, saying, quote, "Please punish May and incapacitate her enough so she can't leave the house. It's time to take the gloves off." Billy's evidence was later confirmed by the actual Chula Vista police, even sharing additional evidence that Larry requested a hex or spell around December of 2020 on a man that Maya had a relationship with outside of their marriage when he requested, quote, "Punish this man's unborn child." Meanwhile, in May of 2022, the Chula Vista Police Department served multiple search warrants on Maya and Larry's home again, leading to Larry being served with a gun violence restraining order on May 7th, ending in the surrender of more of his firearms. Now, the biggest step in this investigation came 9 months after Maya's disappearance, on October 19th, 2021, when Larry was arrested for the murder of his 39-year-old wife and mother to his children, Maya Millete. Larry has pleaded not guilty to this charge and maintains his innocence, saying that Maya willingly left and abandoned him and the children. Not too long after his arrest, Larry appeared in court for a bail hearing where the prosecution argued that he should be held without bail, arguing that he is not only a flight risk with every reason to flee, but that he was a danger to the public, especially the man whom Maya had an affair with, using the hex on his unborn child as evidence of this, as well as that he may be a danger to his 3 children. The court ultimately ruled in the favor of the prosecution, denying bail and placing a criminal restraining order for the 3 children, meaning he was not allowed contact with the children while they were safely placed in family members' homes. To this day, there is currently a custody battle for the 3 children, but morally, I don't like to bring the children into the podcast unless they are the ones missing for not only their own privacy, especially as they age, but safety. All we need to know is that they are safe and currently being cared for. As for Larry and for his criminal charges, if you are a long-term true crime listener or just know anything about the American justice system, especially here in California, with the pandemic, everything moves slow. Larry, since October of 2021, has been in prison. He was set for a preliminary trial in June of 2022, but defense was able to put this on hold so his mental competence could be tested. In August of 2022, the test began to test Larry's competence to stand trial. He was found competent to stand trial, and his preliminary hearing began the week of January 10th, ending on January 26, 2023, with the verdict that he will stand trial for the murder of Maya in September of 2023. A preliminary trial is basically the trial before the trial. It's where the judge decides if there is enough evidence for the defense to go to trial for the crime they are being accused of. In murder cases, especially one like this, where the remains of the victim have never been found, it's an important step in the justice system. A lot came out in this preliminary hearing. Now, I have said this before, but I'm going to be careful what I put onto Misty Mysteries in hopes to not cause any harm or interference in the process of justice. I will cover some of what was very publicly shared pieces of evidence. One of the biggest pieces of evidence was that the day Maya went missing, she had a meeting with a divorce attorney after a year of a struggling marriage with Larry. She had also sent a text to her loved ones saying, quote, "After Laura's birthday party, I'm going to file for divorce. If Larry tries to call you, don't answer the phone call. If something happens to me, it's going to be Larry." Testimony from Maya's sister-in-law also revealed that Larry had sent messages saying things like, quote, "I'm trying to cage her in an invisible cage, and I'm willing to sell my soul," in a lengthy text regarding how far he would go to save his own marriage. He had also sent pictures of what appeared to be a blood or wax-soaked altar to a friend. Phone evidence was also found from Maya's iCloud, since her phone was shut off the day she went missing and has never been found. This iCloud backup revealed a secret Instagram of Maya's, which was being used to make contact and maintain a relationship with a man outside of her marriage, along with a video she recorded where she was discussing the affair with Larry, and in this, she asked him, "Is something like this worth killing me over?" Other video evidence was revealed, one showing Maya's car moving on the day of her disappearance, and another from a neighbor revealing what sounds like 2 gunshots coming from Maya and Larry's house on the day she went missing. Lastly, the man she was having a relationship with did give the police an alibi for the day of Maya's disappearance. Where in the World is Crime in San Diego podcast does a great job at covering the hearings from day one to an episode for every piece of evidence revealed, if you are further interested in the details of this hearing. For now, I want to remind you that Maya Millete still has not been found. There has been searches with cadaver dogs, and these searches still continue. The search teams are in need of volunteers with many different skill sets, including certified divers, drones, sonar equipment, and much more. If this is something you can do and want to help, please check out the volunteer form in the episode description. This is going to be the end of Misty Mysteries episode today. If you like the episode or the podcast, reviews are always appreciated and welcomed. I'm going to be ending this episode with a little clip of the music Maya puts out on YouTube.
Wow.